Hey everybody, welcome to our weekend check-in video for PSY-45 resource methods for Saturday, October 22nd. So we're trucking along here, so I'm going to go over a few reminders, clarifications, anything I think you need to know to stay on top of things in our course, so I'll get started. First up here is that both your discussions for chapter 9 and 10 were due yesterday on Friday, and most of you did a good job, but some of you were getting some things mixed up there as far as what is it within subjects design. Remember, it's just one group that you expose to all the levels of your IVR treatment, and those are experiments too, so keep that in mind. And also there in the chapter 10 on the quasi-anon experiments, what you had to do there was actually compare pre-existing groups that you do not create or assign people to, and for some reason a few of you went ahead and created groups and assigned people to conditions, and you really don't do that. You compare existing groups like rich versus poor, ethnicity, Republicans versus Democrats, whatever they are, you just compare existing groups and see if they're different somehow. But of course the problem is you're never quite sure exactly why they're different. All you can say is, oh, they're different, and you can't really usually say much beyond that. So do keep that in mind there, if you will. Next up here is that your third exam is coming up this coming Monday through Wednesday, October 24th through October 26th, so do prepare for that. You'll find a study guide there at the bottom of Unit 3 to help you out, and as always, do pay careful attention to those two items on the study guide that you'll find italicized with asterisks all around it. That's going to be the content that your two short answer essay questions are based upon, so prepare that material, because I give you plenty to help you prepare for it there, so you know what it's going to be about, and then you should easily be able to answer those questions. And when you do provide your answers, do be careful to make sure you put your answers in your own words. Don't copy and paste material from the textbook. Don't just change a few words from what you find in the textbook, and please don't go online to some website and paste in what they say there, because I'm going to see those things and I'll know that's what you did. So please be careful to put things in your own words, just like you would on a paper and pencil test in a face-to-face class, and you shouldn't have any problem. Next up, don't forget that your mind tap assignments are due on the Sunday before the exam opens. So tomorrow on Sunday night, October 23rd, you need to have your mind tap assignments done for chapters 8, 9, and 10, so make sure you've got those finished there. Next up, Unit 4, which covers chapters 11, 12, and 13. That's going to open up on Tuesday of this coming week. The second day of our exam is when I always do it, so October 25th. So you can certainly work ahead there, so knock out your quizzes, your discussions, your mind taps, get all that stuff knocked out of the way so you have time to focus perhaps on writing your final literature review paper. So do get that done. And I will caution you, the first chapter in this section here, this unit, pardon me, chapter 11 on what are called factorial designs, you really need to watch the lecture videos along with paying attention to what's in your textbook there. These are the most complex designs we are going to cover. And I think you will find they are very challenging to understand, quote unquote, on your own. So I walk you through with plenty of examples, and I'm redundant with some of those too to really make sure you understand it. I do the same thing in my face-to-face class, and by the time we're done with the lecture, everybody feels really comfortable usually figuring out how do you understand a factorial design, because what you're going to learn about are these things called main effects and interactions, and you're also going to learn there's two different ways you can try to identify, is there a main effect in this design or is there an interaction. You can do that by looking at a matrix of data that is numbers and what we call cells or boxes, and you also can do that by visually graphing these out, and I walk you through again with a lot of examples so you can literally see how this is done. So please do watch those videos. It'll really help you out. You just gotta trust me on that, okay? Next up here, I mentioned a while ago that your literature review is coming up. Don't forget, you'll find the instructions in the APA module there underneath Unit 5 of our course material. So please do scroll down all the way past Unit 5, and then you'll see the APA module there. You want to open up the instructions for Component 3, the final paper. At the top, you'll find a how-to video where I walk you through with narration and screenshots and show and tell you what to do. So please do watch that. It's about 10 minutes. It'll really make things clear for you. Also, you'll find underneath the video there is a embedded file link, an instruction file there, along with what's called a checklist. So do read those instructions carefully. and do read the checklist carefully there too. That checklist should be considered a list of do's and don'ts, things you do want to have in your paper and things you don't want to have in your paper. So do carefully examine that there, because over the years I've just been adding things to it. It really seems to help students avoid making any major mistakes that'll cost them points. So it's there to help you out, not to give you something extra to do. And when you go through those instructions there, the other part of that file, you will find there in the detail that there are links to that online writing lab, the OWL or the OWL of a sample title page, abstract page, a completed sample literature review paper. Do take some time to look at that there. Next up here, don't forget you will have a sample paper found in your Pocket Guide to APA style. Remember, you access the Pocket Guide from the MindTap platform, so when you go into MindTap there, just go underneath Chapter 15 and you will see the link there to the Pocket Guide. You want to especially examine Chapter 9. There is a chapter there that has sample papers there. The first paper on birth order is a completed sample literature review, so do examine that so you can really see what you need to be shooting for as far as your final paper. And in the instruction file that I mentioned a moment ago there, a common question here, even though it's in the instructions pretty clearly, and in the instructions on the Canvas module there too, your paper needs to be 8 full pages of actual literature review content. So you need to say something about each one of your 10 references there, and that's going to compose most of your paper for you. And be careful that you have at least 8 full pages, so not 7 1/4, not 7 1/2. It has to be 8 full pages, and then you're going to have 3 additional pages: a title page, an abstract page, and a page of references. So it's 11 pages altogether, but those 8 pages of the actual review itself, that's kind of the meat and potatoes of your literature review, so make sure you have at least that much there. As I just said, make sure you say something about each one of your 10 references at least once. That's the purpose of a review, is to report on the literature you found as documented in your references. And do be careful not to cite sources you don't have in your references. This is a review of the literature about the sources you located, not about ones you don't have documented in your list of references. And if you want to add more references, that's totally fine. Just add them, but make sure you say something about them. And also be careful that you understand this paper is not an autobiographical paper. It's not about the story of your life. It's not about your lived experiences. It's about the topic that your review is about, and your thesis statement to support that topic. Just like you'd find in a textbook, that's the mentality you should have when you write this paper. If you're writing a textbook, this is what you would put in it there, so keep that in mind. Lastly here, don't forget that any feedback you got from the outline, because some of you had some issues with your citation format, or not citing all of your references, or citing sources not on your references, as I was just saying, make sure you remedy all that. I gave you pretty detailed feedback in your outline feedback there, so make sure you incorporate that so you don't make the same mistakes. And you'll also find in your Pocket Guide to APA style and on that online writing lab, there's all kinds of really great examples of citations from different sources. So if it's from a journal article, it's usually pretty easy. You put in the author, you put in the year of publication. If you're quoting directly, you put in a page number. If you're not quoting, you don't put in a page number. And if you got other sources like a book or something, there's just different formats for citing different sources. But all that's in your Pocket Guide, all that's on that online writing lab, and it's on you to look those things up and also look at the samples to see how all that's done. And don't forget, there is the Writing and Reading Center over there in the library. They can help you out as well, so do take advantage of them to get some help if you are struggling with parts of your paper. You can certainly, of course, email me with any questions that you have. Alright, that's pretty much everything I wanted to say for this weekend video there. We will have our live session on Monday at 11 o'clock as usual, so if you can make it, great. I'll be there to answer your questions. I will record it in case you can't make it. Otherwise, I hope you're having a good weekend. Study hard for your exam, and I will see you in those lecture videos, and I will see you here next weekend. So take care until then.